Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit doing movie reviews. This is Erin and Drew's Movie Reviews. My name is Drew.
My name is Erin, and surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Drew. I mean Shirley.
I wonder what movie we're doing.
Where's my flask? I need a drink right now. Anyway.
Not with that drinking problem.
No. Yeah.
Get water everywhere.
Yeah. I really don't want to call the janitor to clean up the mess. But, yeah, the movie we're doing today is 1980's Airplane, which will conclude my class of 1980 because this is the last show we're going to do this year. And will I do a class of 1981? Maybe. I might. I'll have more of a year to do that.
We'll find out next year.
We'll find out next year.
Yeah.
Because I had previously done Blues Brothers, Flash Gordon, and John Carpenter's The Fog.
Yes.
And so this would be the fourth entry. Would have liked to have done more, but maybe I'll throw that in with my random pick a wheel movie thing later on. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do more. But yeah, Airplane. Yeah, this movie has some interesting origins. The guys who made the movie, the Zucker Brothers, Jerry and David, are actually Wisconsinites. They are from the Milwaukee area, and they used to have an improv troupe, I think, in Madison, because they went to school there, called the Kentucky Fried Theater. Nice. And they eventually ended up teaming up with a young director who was unknown at the time named John Landis, who would go on to make Animal House and the Blues Brothers. And they made the Kentucky Fried Movie, which also had kind of, like Airplane, had an odd collection of, I don't want to say stars, but actors. But not necessarily people who were tearing up the box office. At least at the time, you had like Donald Sutherland, who wasn't really a huge lead actor. And then there was George Lazenby, who was James Bond for one movie, and you had Bill Bixby, who was the Incredible Hulk at the time. So that was their stars of the film. And so that actually did pretty well. And then they were making wanted to do another movie that basically made fun of disaster movies, because the 70s were all about disaster movies. Right. They specifically, though, didn't go with this. They kind of combined that with a 50s movie called 0 Hour, which is what this is basically a ripoff of. They openly admit it, that it's a ripoff of 0 Hour, even down to the fact that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is in the film, because 0 Hour had a sports star by the name of Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, who played for the LA Rams. Does that name ring a bell? No. Well, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, before he was with the LA Rams, played for the Wisconsin Badgers. Oh. They have, there's a thing in Madison called the Crazy Legs Marathon or something like that. Yeah, that's named after him. So
nice.
A lot of Wisconsin connections here. So, but yeah, they put Kareem in the movie as a kind of, well, I guess as himself, but he's pretending to be someone else. He's the co-pilot, named Roger Murdoch, which I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the movie. I don't know where to start with it. Does the movie really have a plot?
No.
The gags kind of are the plot.
It's hard to talk about this movie without just quoting the movie, because that's all. That's all that anybody cares about. Yeah. It's the different quotes from the movie, and like rewatching this, because I felt like I haven't seen it in a while. I'm going to rewatch this thing. There are a lot of really racy jokes in this movie.
Oh yeah, especially for 1980.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of centers around. It gets started anyway with this couple who are no longer a couple. Yeah. Well, at least when the movie starts, they are not a couple anymore. But he's trying. Ted Stryker, who's played by Robert Hayes, and he's trying to win back Elaine, who is a stewardess on this, or a flight attendant, or fill in the blank, however you want to say it.
I believe they were still stewardess at this point in time.
At this time, yeah, probably. He's trying to we can make it work, and I'm sorry, I'm going on this plane trip, and we're done, and blah, blah, blah. So but he's a taxi driver.
Yeah, and
he's on the job, and he leaves someone in the cab with the clock on while he gets his ticket, smoking section, to go on the plane. While he just leaves his cab.
Yeah, from L.A. to Chicago.
Yeah. That's kind of, and the people in the beginning of the movie are besieged by these guys from I think they just call themselves the Church of Religious Consciousness, which is not a real church, and I'm pretty sure the guys who made the movie just made it up because they didn't want to get sued by anybody.
Right.
By a real church. And everybody's kind of like, oh, no thanks, or no, we gave it the office. And then eventually they come up to Stryker and he says, excuse me, sir, we'd like you to have this flower. BAM! And he's... Which I'm sure we've all wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point or another. I'll go on the record, I've never actually hit anyone from those kind of organizations, but I have closed the door on them.
Oh my goodness.
And, yeah. Well, if you worked a night shift and then are woken up by people who want to talk about those kind of things, which happened to me more than once, I just kind of like, no, go away, and I just...
It's just like, it's quite a way. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Or the white zone is for loading and unloading only. There is no parking in the white zone.
No, the red zone is for loading and unloading only. There's no parking in the white zone.
Oh, yeah. And so, he gets his ticket, he gets on the plane, and you get introduced to all these people who are kind of taking a ride on the same plane. A lot like Train to Busan. There's different, you got like the two jive guys who need translation because you can't really understand anything they're saying. And eventually, and this is another clever bit of casting, is they got the mom from Leave It to Beaver basically in the movie just to say like 5 lines.
Yeah.
Excuse me, stewardess, I speak jive.
Excuse me, stewardess. Yeah, exactly.
And then she actually starts speaking jive.
I found something funny when I watch it, because I usually watch movies with closed captions regardless. So at this part of the movie, they have the translation on the bottom of what they're saying in jive, but they also wrote out jive above them so that like you could actually see what they're saying. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's like, oh, that makes much more sense now.
Yeah. And then you kind of find out that and then you have like a family with like a mom and a dad and the little boy, and then you have the 2 Hare Krishna guys, and then a sick girl who's on her way to the Mayo Clinic, which apparently all they do is like serve mayonnaise.
Right.
Yeah. And you find out through conversations through random passengers that Ted was a fighter pilot in an undesignated war. We don't really know which war. You just know that he was over Macho Grande. But that, whatever.
It's much big.
Yeah, if it's supposed to be World War II, Vietnam, Korea. I mean, it's just a generic.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to have.
A generic war.
Yeah, it's a war.
In the Pacific-ish
so
region. You
kind of know that he has some issues being on airplanes.
Yes.
But he's kind of biting the bullet anyway because he wants to win Elaine back.
And he is apparently a very boring storyteller.
Well, yeah, because you kind of learn throughout the movie little chunks of his backstory and her backstory and how they met and what they did together. And they met in some bar where the disco was still very popular. And
so was fighting.
Amongst the Girl Scouts.
I love those Girl Scouts.
And I have often been told I dance like I have a knife stuck in my back, so. Yeah, I loved that. And apparently he's very bad at telling these stories because one lady hangs herself. Another one is trying to just stab himself, and another one is going to, at the very last minute, gets a reprieve because he was going to light himself on fire. So, yeah, that's not a good sign.
No.
But
it's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.
And, oh, the pilots, I forgot. Of course, I had mentioned Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as Roger Murdoch. And Peter Graves is Captain Over.
Yeah, Clarence Over.
And I forget who the third guy is.
I don't know the actor who plays Victor.
Right. Victor.
So you have that whole what's the clearance? Clarence? Roger.
What's your Victor?
What's your Victor?
Yeah. And what else is going on there? Oh, yeah. Apparently there's a mishap with the food service.
Yes.
Because
you have the
you
chicken
can either
or
get
the
chicken
fish.
or you can get fish.
Yes.
And which apparently doesn't apply to Leslie Nielsen's character because he had lasagna. We don't really know where he got the lasagna from, but but that's I think whoever had the fish are the ones who got
something wrong with the fish.
Something off about the fish, so people are starting to get sick left and right.
Produce eggs from your mouth.
Yeah, because
it's
apparently
weird.
eggs start coming out of your mouth, and
you start sweating profusely.
And we start learning that a hospital is a giant building with patients in it, but apparently it's not important.
But that's not important right now.
It's not important right now. No.
That is one of my favorite running gags, and there's so many running jokes in this movie. It's hard to count all of them. But my favorite one is the blank, what's that? And then it's a dictionary definition of it. But that's not important right now.
Here it's like, how soon can you land? I can't tell. You can tell me. I'm a doctor. Well, I just don't know. Well, can't you take a guess? Not for another 2 hours. You can't take a guess for another 2 hours? I mean, I guess that was the only, they only used like that one shot to shoot that scene. And apparently, according to the Zucker Brothers, that's all one take.
Nice. Between
Graves and Leslie Nielsen, so. Because they knew they weren't going to use any other shots, so they just let it run.
Just let them go.
They
just let them go.
And it worked fantastically well. Eventually Captain Over succumbs to this food poisoning, and so there's no pilot. So what do you get when there's no pilot? You get an autopilot, who conveniently happens to be named Otto.
Inflatable autopilot.
And then this is where we get to meet Lloyd Bridges and Robert Stack. And I don't know if his character actually has a name in the movie, but the actor's name is Steven Stucker. He's kind of a guy who walks through the background and makes quips.
Oh, that's Johnny.
Oh, they do? Yeah. He does have a name.
Johnny's my favorite character.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, woo, there's a sale at Penny's.
Yeah, exactly.
He gets so excited.
He's so excited. Yeah. It's like he's answering the phone. He's like, yeah, I'm like, it's a twister. It's tied up in the phone cords.
Yeah. Hey, I found this psychological profile. I thought it looked better from the side. Looks like he picked the wrong day to quit smoking. Yeah, and so Elaine goes to the cabin and finds out they're all sick and they're all passed out. And she has no choice but to go to Ted.
Well, she tells everybody that there's no pilot on there. And the other stewardess finds out that Ted was a pilot. So she's all like, Elaine is like, no, you can't fly this plane.
Yeah. I folded up over Macho Grande. Over Macho Grande? No, I don't think I'll ever get over Macho Grande.
The best part is that the lines are said so straight.
Yes.
That you're like, I know that's a joke, but that's how this movie works. It's just.
And that was apparently the directive that the Zucker Brothers gave all the actors, because none of them were, well, except for maybe Robert Hayes, because I think he was in a sitcom at the time. I forget what it's called now, but everybody else, like, you know, it's easy to think now of Leslie Nielsen as a real funny guy. But when he was cast for this, he was a very straight leading man. And Peter Graves, too. You know, he's not really a funny guy. Or Lloyd Bridges was not really a funny guy either, but he's hilarious. And Robert Stack, they're all very serious leading people. But it just, they told them, play this like someone who does not know they're in a comedy.
Right.
It was kind of the directive, and it just works wonderfully well. Yeah. So Ted has to come up and try and fly the plane, and he knows, not Lloyd Bridges, but Robert Stack. They were in the war together, and they don't exactly get along. Rex Kramer is his name. So, and then Lloyd Bridges apparently.
He picked the wrong day to stop quitting a lot of things.
Yeah, because he's got some issues. Yeah, and drinking, smoking,
airplane glue,
sniffing glue. I feel like I'm missing
paint.
One. Was he huffing paint?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah.
There might be something else.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, when you hit turbulence, don't try to put lipstick on. Or any kind of makeup because that one lady has like half of the Revlon company on her face when it's wow.
Yep.
And then you have the nun who's reading like a copy of Boy's Life magazine.
The boy reading.
And then you go across the aisle and the boy is reading Nun's Life. And if you look really closely, I'm wondering, did they actually get someone dressed up in a nun's costume to be on a surfboard to take that picture?
I'm not sure.
Because I don't think they had Photoshop back then.
Surfing nun.
A surfing nun, yeah.
I mean, they could have just cut out a picture and paste it. It's Photoshop before computers.
Sure.
Doctors' photos did exist before computers. Anyway.
But then the worst thing is that, this was actually before Ted gets to the cabin, but the autopilot is losing gas. And
the self-inflate nozzle is on the belt of the autopilot.
Yeah. Facing forward. And apparently he needs to be reinflated. Yeah. Which,
but that's not important right now.
But no, because yes, he's so happy. He actually has a different expression on his face, and actually his head starts.
Look at the camera.
And he can smoke cigarettes too.
Yeah, which is strange for
very strange.
Inflated.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was a different time.
The 80s. What?
Yeah. And you know the times were changing when the airplane takes out the radio tower to the disco station. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something.
I mean, there's so much happens in this movie, and yet doesn't happen in this movie. Right?
I did talk about the church people. Oh,
the church people.
Well, I mentioned Stryker punching that one dude in the face, but then halfway through the movie, when they get Robert Stack to come to work,
he just goes through a line of different.
I think that's really him. That's not a stunt guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
he's
it
doing
looked like him.
The punches, and he's like doing these flips,
kicks.
But he gets like the religious consciousness people. There's like one of them I think says Jews for Jesus.
Yeah.
And it just
a line of religious people.
Yeah, religious people, and he just lays them all
out.
We're done. Yeah, he's out. He's done. So, yeah. Oh, and this too. The sunglasses gag.
Oh yeah.
Where he takes the sunglasses off of the other sunglasses.
More sunglasses.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Some of my favorite gags of this movie are all right, boys, let's grab some pictures. And then they take the pictures.
And then they take pictures
off the wall. It's a good one. So good. I like when Leslie Nielsen's character is introduced, and they go, "Excuse me, are you a doctor?" And it cuts to him, and he has a stethoscope in his ears. He's like, "Yes, I am."
Yes, I am. Playing completely straight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or assume crash positions, and then everyone's just like,
yeah. Good stuff.
This movie.
Well, I guess it's time to rank this thing. So, Erin, the student has handed you the paper. What grade do you give Airplane?
I'm going to give Airplane... Man, it's a great movie all around. It's got a little bit... But
that's not important right
But that's not important right now. I'm going to give it an A. Yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah. I'm going to give
Very
it an
quotable.
A also. I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it again last night just to kind of refresh myself. And yeah, it's still
good.
Pretty great.
Still good.
Yeah. Is there some glue around here? No, never mind. Forget it.
Like, I'm a little sad. I already threw out the "Surely You Can't Be Serious" joke because I would.
You would use it.
I would use it again.
Yeah.
Then again, they do use it like 3, 4.
A lot.
3 times, 4 times.
Quite a few times.
At least 3 times because comedy comes in 3s.
All right. Well, that's our review of Airplane. Until next time, I'm Drew.
I'm Erin.
And don't call me Shirley, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Cable television is the swellest thing they got.